Video games have had a horrible track record when it comes to diversity in their cast. The typical protagonist in most video games would be a white guy. And this is because most games are made by mostly white developers, and they tend to cater towards a supposed audience that's made of mostly white males. We know now that there's a lot of diversity in gamers throughout the world, and it's not just white guys playing games. And in games these days, like Overwatch, have been trying to diverse their cast a lot more. Even Apex Legends has only one white character. There are many races that don't get enough representation, and in this video, I want to focus on Hispanics and Latinos in video games. So unfortunately for us Latinos, we don't get a lot of important roles in video games. We are typically background characters for when the game takes place in a Latin country. And if there are Latin characters in the story, we are typically not the main protagonist. Dom from the Gears of War series is a great example of this. Dom is Marcus Phoenix's friend and right-hand man. He serves as the second playable character throughout the Gears of War series. He is driven to find his wife and blames the Locusts for killing his family. His arc throughout the games shows that Dom is family-centric and kind-hearted. Mexican culture definitely has strong family values, and to see a character like him, who's like a softer, is very refreshing from the testosterone-filled series that is Gears of War. So it's awesome to see a character of Latin heritage like him, even though he's not the main protagonist and takes a backseat to Marcus.
Dom. Dom, you awake? I brought you breakfast. The kids are at my mother's, so we got the whole day to ourselves. Dom! Are you awake? Dom! Dom!
Dom! Dom, wake up!
Another Hispanic that takes a backseat in the story is King from the Tekken series. King is a luchador from Mexico who wears a leopard head mask instead of a traditional luchador mask. He enters wrestling matches so that he may use his winnings to help fund orphanages. He is a bona fide hero, which is accurate to how Mexican culture perceives luchadors. Despite this, he isn't too involved in the main story of Tekken, since it focuses on Heihachi and his mortal feud with his son, Kazuya. Despite this, King has been a fan favorite since his inception, thanks to his flashy wrestling fighting style and his iconic jaguar mask. Like I've stated previously, Hispanics typically aren't in the lead role in video games. So let's touch on a few that are, like Garcia Hotspur. In Shadows of the Damned, you play as Garcia, a demon hunter who travels his way through hell to find his girlfriend. Garcia himself acts like a typical action hero, being a badass who isn't afraid of anything that stands before him. The game follows this trope of saving a damsel in distress, in the form of saving Paula, Garcia's girlfriend, from a demon, despite the revelation later in the game that Paula herself was a former demon hunter. She could have easily saved herself, but the game writers decided that it was better for her just to be a trophy for Garcia. The game UI definitely takes inspiration from Mexican Day of the Dead aesthetics, and the game itself features a lot of skulls, which is nice. But the game fails to add anything meaningful outside of Garcia's thick accent. There's just not much cultural relevance within Shadows of the Damned.
Sorry, Paula. Mexico will have to wait.
Another game with Hispanic lead is Just Cause. In the Just Cause series, you enter the role of Rico Rodriguez, a Mexican-born soldier who works for America's best interests. He is tasked by the mysterious entity known as the Agency to topple dictators in Southern America. Rico Rodriguez himself is meant to be an amalgamation of several action hero tropes, which is why he's very generic, why he has that 5 o'clock shadow and that very generic action hero haircut. The game's story is meant to reflect the US 20th century involvement in other countries, attempting to stop the spread of communism throughout Southern America. It mirrors how communism is viewed as evil and is always oppressive, and that only the US and capitalistic ideals are good. Even though you are the good guy, in the situation of the game is a sandbox, much like GTA. Except you're equipped with tons of gadgets to terrorize enemy military and even civilians. Juan from Guacamelee is perhaps the best representation of Latinos in gaming out of everyone on this list. Juan starts his journey on a small agave farm, but becomes a luchador to save the love of his life. He goes through ancient ruins, different dimensions, and even hell itself. The enemies and game world are both designed to resemble Mexican culture and mythology. It is beautiful and it captures Mexican aesthetics nicely. It is stated early on that Juan wanted to become a luchador when he was younger, and he had a crush on El Presidente's daughter. And by the end of the game, he has become that heroic luchador, and gets the girl. It's a nice wish fulfillment, and says that if you work hard, you will eventually become the person you want to be. So there might not be a whole lot of Latinos in gaming, but there is a push for more diversity, and hopefully with more kinds of protagonists come different perspectives, different art directions, and maybe new gameplay mechanics. Hopefully as game designers, we see the value in exploring different cultures, not just to check a box saying that we're progressive, but as artists willing to challenge ourselves with something new.